Coming up, saying goodbye. Thousands gather in Queens to remember a hero killed in a fire tragedy.
Still gusty through this evening, but with winds easing up, a much more comfortable start to the day tomorrow.
And salvaging the sound of the past, the guitar shop transforming old New York into new music. Hey, what's up, friends? Welcome back to News 4 Now. Today is Friday, April 29th. And first up, we've got to start with some sad news. Y'all, thousands of people have been in mourning this morning at a funeral for a fallen hero. That's right, a firefighter who died when a ceiling collapsed on him. 31-year-old Timothy Klein was one of two people killed Sunday at a fire in Canarsie after a ceiling collapsed during a rescue. 8 other firefighters were also injured. He's the second FDNY member from Ladder Company 170 killed in the line of duty in just over 3 years. Tens of thousands gathered for his funeral that was held Friday at the Church of St. Francis de Sales in Belle Harbor. His fellow firefighters say he lived up to the department's title of New York's bravest.
You know, it's a heartbreaking day, but the turnout today is a testament to the mark that he made on this community and on this city. So, we're here to support the family and, just get through this, and, we'll be here for the family for forever. They're a firefighter family, and they understand the support we're going to bring to them and the firehouse, and that's really what we're here to do today.
Klein served the department for more than 6 years, following in the footsteps of his father and several other relatives. Meanwhile, in Brooklyn, police are questioning a mother who they say dropped her 6-month-old baby off a second-floor balcony. It happened around 4 Thursday morning along 51st Street in Borough Park. Police say the woman woke up her husband to tell him she dropped the child from the balcony. The little boy was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but is expected to survive. Police say right now it's not clear if this was criminal or just an accident. The mother is undergoing a psychiatric evaluation. Right now, police are trying to find more possible victims after 2 Columbia University students reported being sexually assaulted near a campus housing complex. Police arrested Miguel Maya. He's facing forcible touching and sex abuse charges. Police say the 32-year-old pushed 2 19-year-old students to the ground and sexually assaulted them last Thursday. Investigators believe there could be more victims. They're asking people who may have information to come forward. Okay, this next story is so bizarre. Police in New Jersey are trying to unravel a mystery of blood splattered on several cars. Investigators found the cars Thursday with varying amounts of blood on them in a North Arlington municipal parking garage on Ridge Road. Police say they don't know whose blood it is or what happened inside the garage. Investigators also found a pool of blood on the sidewalk in the middle of the busy stretch of road.
It's scary because North Arlington is a good town. It's safe. I live here, like a few blocks away, but it makes me scary.
There were no cameras that caught whatever happened, and police say so far, no witnesses.
Hi there, I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Maria LaRosa. Beautiful looking day and a nice wrap up to April. We're almost there, and a nice quiet evening too. We're looking at clear skies, temperatures falling into the mid-50s by dinner time, clear skies overnight. By midnight, still near 50 degrees, but one big improvement in how it feels out there will be the wind. Still gusty into the early part of the evening out of the northwest, about 10-20 miles per hour. Will really begin to ease up heading into tomorrow morning. So wind chill not as much of a factor, and it won't be gusty tomorrow afternoon. So as temperatures warm up, again, feeling a little bit more like springtime. 43 degrees for the low tomorrow morning in the city. We'll see a few 30s from White Plains, Poughkeepsie, Sussex, and Clinton. 40s for lows in Islip, Merrick, and down the shore.
Bit Digital is a large-scale institutional Bitcoin miner. We're focused on sustainable practices around Bitcoin mining.
And we're standing in front of a former coal-fired power plant. This used to supply a Goodyear tire facility. It was built in the early 90s. and taken offline in 2014. It has now been repurposed as a Bitcoin mining facility, no longer runs on coal, and instead is running on almost entirely clean hydroelectric energy. Bitcoin mining is the way that new Bitcoins get minted and put into circulation. There is no central government that's got a printing press to print new Bitcoins. It's controlled by an algorithm, and there's a fixed supply of Bitcoins, meaning that after they've all been minted, no more can be made. The Bitcoin miners create new Bitcoins by all trying to solve the same complicated math problem at the same time.
A miner is not a person, it's actually a machine. I have one right here. In fact, I have 4 right here. They're about $10,000 each, and there's a long wait list to acquire these machines. We have 32,000 machines, although we've recently purchased another 10,000 machines. We believe that the crackdown, the ban of Bitcoin mining in China has actually been a wonderful gift to the West. There's been a massive migration of machines, manpower, innovation that's migrated from the East to the West, and that's been really fantastic for the United States. In fact, in Buffalo, where most of the manufacturing jobs have been lost to China, it's now come full circle, where China has banned Bitcoin mining, but that sector is now coming back to the States, and parts of that sector is coming here in Buffalo.
Worldwide use of energy for Bitcoin mining is equal to the entire country of Argentina. They are incredibly energy-intensive operations. At this point, environmental groups, including the Sierra Club, would have a problem with Bitcoin mining, even if they were using renewable energy sources like wind, solar, and hydro, because they're taking that power away from other users at this point here. There's just not enough renewable power that is going into the grid to say that these plants are going to be, these Bitcoin operations are going to be using clean energy 100% of the time.
Energy Mark supplies the physical electricity to Block Fusion. 90% of upstate New York's zones A through F power is carbon neutral, and 50% of which comes from renewable sources. So obviously right here, we're roughly 4 to 5 miles away from the Robert Moses Generation Facility, which produces, it's about 2,500 megawatts of hydroelectric power, which I believe is the 4th largest hydro plant in the United States. I think that these blockchain companies are going to accelerate the growth of renewables just because of the, like I said, the energy intensive nature of it and the need to have a renewable blockchain and the investment into it. So I think that's going to grow renewables.
There are 2 ways to look at it. There's clean energy and dirty energy. And there are some Bitcoin miners, unfortunately, who are using dirty sources of power like fossil fuel to power their machines, and that's wrong.
We have real-time reads in terms of what's coming in from a metering standpoint. We also have consumption by hardware that we can actually look at as well. So we actually can see a particular piece of hardware, how much power is that particularly consuming at any given time.
The Sierra Club and other organizations are looking for a review by the state in order to, evaluate the environmental impacts of Bitcoin mining in relationship to the climate goals of New York State.
Look, it's clear that lots of tech companies are moving their data centers into the Buffalo, Niagara region for the same reason we have, which is to get access to low-cost clean power. Any economic activity that comes into that region is going to consume power. We have a spotlight on us with respect to energy usage. And we see that as a really beautiful opportunity to take a leadership role in decarbonizing and accelerating the decarbonization of the tech sector.
It's important to be sustainable in this space for a number of reasons. The first reason is that there's a huge ESG movement happening with respect to investing in companies. ESG meaning environmental, social, and governmental. And investors are not only looking to place their capital where they can get returns, but also to place their capital in companies that are not causing damage to the earth. And so we believe in ESG practices, and that's why we're very motivated financially to find clean sources of power so we can attract these kinds of investors.
All right, up next, New York City is forever changing, but there's this guitar shop that makes it feel like you've gone back in time. That's because their handmade instruments are preserving that old school soul of New York. News 4's Adam Cooperstein is here to give us a look and a listen. Check it out.
Discarded among the city's trash is their treasure.
Oh, this is a double one. Some people will kind of walk by us and go like, what are they doing?
Cindy Hewledge and Rick Kelly are dumpster diving for 200-year-old wood.
Every time there's a construction site, you have to pay attention. They just throw them in a dumpster and then I come running.
Rick calls these planks of pine the bones of old New York City.
It's the old timbers that all these buildings were framed out with in the early 1800s, late 1700s.
And that old New York wood is getting a new life inside Carmine Street Guitars in Greenwich Village.
It's been endorsed for 200 years seasoning, so it couldn't be better for making musical instruments. This stuff is just, it's just prime wood.
For decades, inside the back of his shop, Rick has been turning reclaimed wood into highly acclaimed custom guitars.
Wow.
And he's built quite a reputation, making guitars for the likes of Lou Reed, Patti Smith, and Bob Dylan.
That was a Bob Dylan story. I made him a guitar, and he had to have wood from Chumley's because he used to hang out there a lot, you know.
Chumley's Pub, the Chelsea Hotel, McSorley's Old Ale House. The source of the salvaged wood is often just as iconic as Rick's clientele.
Andy Warhol bought the building, and John Basquiat worked, lived, and died there in that building.
In 57 Great Jones.
Cindy is Rick's apprentice and says beyond the novelty and nostalgia, there's a distinct sound that comes from this old New York wood.
It just rings a different way, in my opinion. If you know that there's a Bowery Pine being used on an album or something, it's like you can hear it.
In the Village, Adam Cooperstein, News 4 New York.
New York City one that I can pick up for a second. Just
All right, friends, that's it for today's show. Thanks for checking in, and be sure to check back next week on News 4 Now. See ya.